Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. Today I have for you a mixed media layout as part of the Mixed Media Frenzy group. They open up their challenges once a month to anybody who would like to participate in the YouTube Hop. And so here is the inspiration piece we had to work with this month. And I really liked it, and I'm actually going to go in a different color palette direction. So I'm going to scrap these photos that I have of my daughter during Thanksgiving from this past year, and I'm going to play with this new product that I've had for a little while, but I haven't used it at all. So these are powdered pigments, and I'll put the brand and information link below because I can't remember off the top of my head. I am working on the Vicki Boutin's Foundations paper, and I trim off the little perforated piece because that part bugs me. And I decide I'm going to cluster all my photos together. Now the one photo had, I used some gold washi tape to give it some photo corners from a previous experiment that I was playing with, and so those were already there, and that's going to lead to a decision I make later on to add more gold into this layout. I am also working with my SCT kit for the month of May, and this kit, even though this is supposed to be a summer line, a lot of these papers felt very autumnal to me, and so I thought that would work perfectly for this layout. And I pulled out a lot of the bits and pieces because I was down to kind of scraps and cut apart the strips to work with the same design that was in our inspiration piece. And there was a gold dimensional sticker in there that said thanks. Now that would be, perfectly usable on a card, but I'm going to build that into my title. And there's also this dimensional sticker that says hello. So my title is going to eventually read hello Thanksgiving. Now the sticker sheet that I had in this SCT kit was out of G's. I've been running out of G's a lot lately. I'm not sure why, but I will set that aside for now, and I will have to go to my stash and find something. So here I pull out these pigment powders, and I'm going to mist my background to get it wet first. And the caps on these powders are nice and tight, so I was glad that to know that they wouldn't just pop off and spill powder everywhere. But you can see as you add these powders to a bit of water, they start doing their magic. And I do go ahead and spray a little bit more water on top of that to get them to blend and flow some more. And then I will sop up any bits that are getting too puddly or too blendy and add in more powders when I want more color. Now that purple was very bold, and I wasn't quite sure that that purple really worked with the color scheme that I had going on in the rest of the layout. So I'll talk a little bit more about what I do with that as we get to that part. Here's where I decide I need more gold in this layout because I have those gold photo corners and the gold embellishment that's going to be part of my title. So I go grab my Twinkling H2O's watercolor pots in a gold color, and I'm going to add in more gold to this layout. Now you can see it's taking me a little while to rehydrate the gold enough to get it to drip, and I'm both squeezing my paintbrush to get large blotchy drips and also spattering. And wherever that paint hits the already wet paint in the background, it starts interacting in interesting ways. So I thought that was pretty fun. Okay, I did set that aside to dry for several hours and made sure it was nice and dry before I move on to this next step. And here is where I'm taking all those paper strips that I cut apart and just trying to get a flow to these papers where there's enough contrast between each strip that it makes sense. And so here's where I start to really realize that I'm not sure about that purple. So I could redo this page, or I could just make do. And that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. So I'm going to cover up most of the purple with my photo cluster and my title cluster. And I think if I cover up most of it, that'll make it feel less noticeable and less heavy on my page. So that is my plan moving forward. Before we get to all that, I am giving a little embellished edge to all of my pattern strips. I'm just cutting a bit of a triangle at the end to create this kind of arrow effect, and then I will line all those pieces back up, and I'm going to just glue the tips of these where they're going to be hidden under my photo block because I am going to take it to my sewing machine and give them all a stitch down. Now I wish I had kind of stitched one at a time because I did have a little bit of trouble lifting up the layers to make the stitching work, but it came out okay in the end. And here's a little tip for you if you don't stitch on your layouts very often. If you pull on your back thread, it will create the front thread a little loop, and then you can tuck your tweezers or whatnot in that loop and pull it back, tape it down, clip it off, and then all of your pattern or all of your stitching will be secured. Now I did also stitch a border around the edge, and I mixed it up between a zigzag stitch and a straight stitch, and I just liked the extra detail that added. And I'm going to go ahead and put my photo cluster together, and I will rearrange this a little bit just later because the edges of the photos were lined up too evenly and that didn't feel right to the flow of this layout, and it's a small detail but it was bugging me, so I will fix that up later. I did pop up my main photo on some foam adhesive. It's a little hard to tell on video, but it gives it a little extra dimension. And then I'm going to go ahead and build up my title cluster. So I've got that foam word that says hello, and I did find this black puffy alpha set from my stash, and I believe that was probably a Pink Fresh product. I'm not sure because it doesn't have its label anymore. So anyway, that is what I am using to put together my entire title. So now it does say Hello Thanksgiving, and I thought that was a fun way to put everything together. All right, I am back. My title is all secure, and then I'm going to build up a little bit of embellishment clustering around it. I had from my SCT sampler kit, I had a few stickers in there, and if you don't know what the SCT sampler kit is, I will leave links for you in the show notes so you can check that out. It's a small collection of supplies that are partial packages from various manufacturers, and they are new products on the market so that you can get a little taste of all the new goodies. So I will leave you links for that. You can go check that out. And I'm just continuing to build up my embellishment cluster there to finish off my title layer. And now I'm moving on to that photo because it was bugging me. I wanted that upper photo to both touch the pattern paper row and to offset the edges from the other photo in the cluster. And also that will give me a little bit more definition to adding a little bit of journaling up here. So I add some journaling to the top. I put a little chipboard heart up there. I stamp a few more hearts with a stamp set from the SCT kit. And I add the main part of my journaling down underneath my title cluster. And I will add a little bit more stamping down there. I had thought I would add more of these little details to the layout because the inspiration piece had more of these little details to it, but in the end I thought my page is busy enough with all of that color going on, so I left it as is. I hope you enjoyed this mixed media layout. Please do remember that this is part of a hop, so go check out the other creators and all of the beautiful projects that they come up with based on this inspiration piece. It's always fun to see how one inspiration can lead to different end results. I will actually be back later today with a second video for today because I am still in the middle of my layout a day challenge for the month of May. So I do hope you come back later this afternoon for that one. I'll see you then.